Chelsea Wilson, welcome to Australian Musician.
Thanks so much for having me. It's great to be here.
Let's go back a little way. Singers that you admired growing up.
Oh, so many. There's so many incredible role models that I grew up listening to. You know, from the jazz canon, the jazz greats such as Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan, Nina Simone, Billie Holiday. But, you know, from the pop sphere, you know, I grew up in the 80s kid, so I always listened to a lot of Kylie, a lot of Madonna, loved Janet Jackson. And then, you know, in the disco realm, you know, I love the vocalists of Chic, Diana Ross, Donna Summer, Grace Jones. Yeah, so many.
Was there a particular album that you played the hell out of that you still never get sick of?
Yeah, I mean, I have a pretty big record collection, and I DJ regularly, so I'm a huge music listener, and you know, listen to so many records on repeat all the time. I mean, Grace Jones' Nightclubbing is always a favourite. Yeah.
So what inspired you to go down this disco road for the new album Chasing Gold?
I've always really loved the era of rare groove and disco music, and I wanted to make an album that you could really party to. So I wanted to make an album that you could put on a Saturday night before you're going out, you know, while you're getting ready, you can just, you know, have a boogie. Because I love doing that. Whenever I'm getting ready to go out, I put on an album and, you know, just to get me going. And so I wanted to make an album like that. So there's no ballads on the record. It's go from start to finish. And yeah, disco just seemed like, you know, the right sound for this particular group of compositions.
10 tracks on the album. Did you have many others to choose from?
Yeah, and there was some songs that didn't make the record. And, you know, you've only got so much room on an LP, so you've got to make that tough choice. But that's a good position to be in. And yeah, I'm already writing the next record, so just keep writing and yeah.
Tell me about the title track and why you named the album Chasing Gold.
The song Chasing Gold is about money issues in relationships, and you know, there's a few songs here and there around financial issues in relationships, but I don't think it's that often talked about in a song context. You know, there's usually songs about love and heartbreak and breakups and so on. But the reason of breaking up, you know, what are those reasons are not always gone through. And in this particular case, I was dating someone where things got really nasty around the money matters and different ideas around the financial arrangement. And so the lyrics in this song is, I'm not chasing gold, because I'm, you know, really want to have relationships that are based on something a bit more meaningful than financial gain. So it's quite a cheeky song. It's probably the only song I've ever sung with the word spreadsheets in it. There's a line, I hope your spreadsheets start to love you back. So you'll just have to listen to the lyrics and I think you'll get it.
Real Love was the first single and already received some airplay in the UK. Do you hope to take the album back there to tour?
Yeah, I'm actually going back to the UK in a couple of weeks. So I'll be doing some radio appearances over there, and I'm heading back in July for some shows. Yeah, I love the UK soul family. You know, there's an incredible scene over there for soul music and rare groove. I played at Glastonbury Festival a few years ago and the London Jazz Cafe. So it's been a while since I've been back. But yeah, I just love it over there. I love London.
Another track on the album, Nothing Can Come Between This Love Tonight. Tell me about the story behind that song.
Nothing Can Come Between This Love Tonight I wrote in dedication for the survivors and the ones lost from the tragic shooting that happened at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. You know, some news stories, like they really just get you, you know, and that was one that just absolutely broke my heart. Just the idea of, you know, people expressing themselves and, you know, being in a safe place to express their sexuality and dancing and celebrating, and to have that kind of violence occurred was just something that really shattered me. And so I wanted to write a song for them. I wanted to write a song that was, you know, anthemic and said nothing's going to stop us. We're going to keep dancing, keep dreaming, we're going to keep waving a flag, and we're going to keep fighting for equal rights and fighting against hate.
In the digital age, people can download music any way they want. They can take a song or two off an album. Was the track order particularly important to you?
Yeah, I think track order is really important when putting together an album. You know, it's a body of work. And it is interesting because, you know, the album format wasn't invented by musicians. It was invented by people who invented recording technology. And it was around, well, if we make a record this size, we can fit this many songs on it. So even though we're of an age where people stream, people download, and there's so many different ways of interacting with the recorded medium, musicians still love the idea of making an album, because this is it's our way of expressing a body of work. It's our way of putting out an actual, you know, a physical representation of our ideas and our thoughts and our emotions. So even if people dip in and out, you know, I think we still want to create an album that has a standalone story, because we grew up listening to full-length albums. So we want to give back to that canon of work that inspired us. We want to give back to that pool of recorded music. So yeah, it's really important. And still people, you know, if you have a look even at your streaming, I mean, you know, for me, or, you know, it still is, people go from the start. People rarely go to the last track of the album and have a listen. They still go from the start. So I think that old adage of, you know, putting, you know, songs that you really want people to hear right at the top is still really relevant.
For this kind of music to work really well, the rhythm section really has to be happening, and
yeah.
it does on this album. Tell me about your drummer and bass player, and did they work separately on this record at all?
On the album, I've got Ross McHenry playing bass, who also produced the album with me, and Myele Manzanza on drums. And Myele's from New Zealand, and Ross is from Adelaide. And Ross and Myele have worked together a lot as a rhythm section, and with the guitarist Dylan as well. They've worked together quite a lot and made a few records together. So they're already kind of a really tight rhythm section. But they've never really played disco before. They're definitely jazz players, and you can really hear that in Myele's playing, because, you know, he's playing drums and he doesn't stick to the one pattern for very long. And, you know, for the live show, I've got, you know, my regular drummer Chad Blaster playing, and Chad's like, every 8 bars this groove changes and all this other stuff's going on, and, you know, I don't think I can play exactly that. And, you know, he doesn't need to, and I've said the live show is definitely, you know, it's a different incarnation of the work, so we don't need to exactly replicate the album, but no one can replicate Myele Manzanza. The first time we jammed the record, he is playing all this stuff. It's like he's some kind of octopus. All of a sudden, like, his limbs everywhere, and I thought, oh my God, this isn't going to work. This is going to be this crazy drum tech type record, you know. But, you know, we jammed on it, we got a groove, and we found a place, and it was a really incredible experience. The bass player Ross, who produced the album with me, said, I want you to focus on writing something undeniable, something undeniably you. So just focus on the songs, keyboard, vocals, and then we'll bring the band in and we can jam and let them breathe their flavors into it. We don't want to be so prescriptive, because we want to let the musicians on the album breathe their interpretation and their energy into the song. And that idea really excited me and also terrified me. But as a result, it means that, you know, you really get to hear the ideas of the musicians throughout the album, and they really get a chance to shine. And it was Ross McHenry's first time, I think, ever playing slap bass on an album. And he was having a great time. It was really fun. We recorded the whole album in 3 days, the rhythm section.
When you write, do you write on keyboards?
Yeah.
What type of keyboard do you have at home?
I have a really old, quite beat up Yamaha electric piano that I have lugged around. It's come to Japan. I bought it in Japan when I was working over there. It's been back to Japan 3 times. It's been to Dubai. It's been to Indonesia. You know, it's nothing flash, but it's a weighted keyboard and it does the job for my songwriting.
You've got an 8-piece band for your launch coming up next week. What does the band consist of?
The live show is a bit of an epic bonanza. And, the album it's a big wall of sound type album. It's just full big sound from start to finish with strings, with backing vocals. And so for the live show, it's a really big undertaking, but I wanted the live show to really reflect and sound like the album. So I have an incredible string section, Fem Belling and Zanny Kolak on violin and Emily Rosner on harp, backing vocals from Jermaine McCarthy and Walter Saluni. And then the rhythm section, I've got Dylan, Marshall, who played guitar on the album, Andy Boyle, who played keys and co-wrote some of the songs on the album, and Metri on the bass, and Chad Blaster on drums. So yeah, it's going to be great. I can't wait.
Chasing Gold is the album which is out now. What do you hope people get out of listening to it?
I hope people fall in love with the album. I hope that they can, dance around the lounge room, crank it up in the car, and feel happy and feel joy from listening to it. There's some really dark things going on around the world right now, and there's some really dark times. And I think disco and this album is a chance to just kind of, one of the things that disco is really good at is creating this kind of, high fantasy kind of moment that you can just, sail off into a kind of nothing matters except the dance floor and the shapes, and so I think it's important, even in these really kind of dark times, that we can take a moment to just celebrate life and dance and party. So
what's the grand plan for Chelsea Wilson?
Oh, the grand plan, so many plans. I love programming festivals. I love working in that arena. So, I'm going to continue to curate and create live shows. But definitely in the future, I'm working on a podcast series and also some more radio programming. So definitely hoping to get back on the mic, get back on the panel. Definitely. And I'm also working on a jazz album. So yeah, grand plans.